You've probably heard a million times that broccoli is good for you. But what you might not know is that this everyday vegetable is hiding a powerful secret weapon, a kind of defense mechanism that, get this, only gets activated when it's destroyed. So let's dive in. Right, so we throw this term superfood around all the time, especially for green veggies like broccoli. But what exactly earns it that title? Most of us just assume it's packed with vitamins and minerals, just sitting there inside the plant waiting for us. But this is where the story gets really, really interesting. Turns out, the most powerful compound in broccoli isn't just in the plant. It actually has to be created, and that creation only happens through an act of destruction. So this is broccoli's secret weapon. The plant keeps its most amazing compound in a totally locked, inactive state. You can think of it like a chemical safe, and it's designed that way for very, very good reason. The compound we're talking about is called sulforaphane, and this stuff is an absolute powerhouse. Seriously, researchers have found it's one of the most potent activators of our own cellular defense systems ever discovered in nature. So it doesn't just give us nutrients, it literally tells our body to start protecting itself. And here is the big catch, the paradox at the very heart of this whole thing. If you were to take a perfect whole head of broccoli and analyze it, you'd find pretty much zero sulforaphane. So where on earth does it come from? Well, this brings us to the activation switch. The creation of sulforaphane is just this brilliant piece of plant chemistry. It's a defense mechanism that gets triggered by the very thing that's trying to eat it. So inside the broccoli's cells, you have two key ingredients that are kept in totally separate compartments. On one side, you've got glucoraphanin, that's the stable raw material. And on the other side, you've got myrosinase, an enzyme that's basically the trigger. And as long as the plant is just sitting there, happy and whole, these two never meet. The whole process works just like a glow stick. I have to snap it to break that little vial inside. That lets the two chemicals mix, and boom, you get light. It's the exact same idea with broccoli. When you chop it or blend it or even just chew it, you are breaking down those cell walls. That allows the glucoraphanin and the myrosinase to finally mix, and that triggers the chemical reaction that creates sulforaphane. And this just shows you how incredibly elegant this whole natural process is. I mean, this isn't some simple one-step thing. It's an elaborate biosynthetic pathway that uses 13 different enzymes just to create the precursor in the first place. Don't worry, you don't have to memorize this. It's just here so you can appreciate the sheer complexity that nature engineered to create this one protective molecule. It's amazing. Okay, so we've chopped up our broccoli. We've created the sulforaphane. But what happens next? What does it actually do once it gets inside our bodies? Okay, this right here is the key takeaway. Sulforaphane isn't like a normal antioxidant that, sacrifices itself to stop one bad guy. Nope, it's more like a coach. It gets into our cells and flips a switch that upregulates, which is just a sciencey way of saying it ramps up production of our body's own incredibly powerful network of protective enzymes. It boosts our body's built-in ability to defend itself. To see this in action, let's look at this incredible study on skin protection. We all get how sunscreen works, right? It creates a temporary barrier on the outside of our skin to block UV rays. Well, sulforaphane works completely differently. It strengthens the skin's own defense team from the inside. And the results were just wow. In a human clinical trial, they applied a sulforaphane-rich extract to people's skin. And what they found was an average reduction in UV-induced redness, sunburn, of nearly 38%. That's a huge, measurable protective effect against something we know causes cancer. The researchers themselves, writing in this super prestigious journal, PNAS, really drove this point home. They called the protection catalytic and long-lasting. Now, catalytic means just one molecule of sulforaphane can set off this huge chain reaction of protective activity. It's incredibly efficient. And that's exactly why it's so long-lasting. The effects stuck around for days after they first applied it. Why? Because it's not just a physical shield that washes off. Sulforaphane actually changed the cell's protein expression. It was building up their internal defenses. The coach had the team ready to go long before the game even started. So this all leads to a really practical question. What's the best way to get this amazing compound? Should I be eating tons of broccoli florets or those little sprouts, or maybe just take a pill? This graph from the research gives us a massive clue. It shows the concentration of glucoraphanin, that's the precursor, remember, over the life of a broccoli plant. And as you can see, the levels are just off the charts in the seeds. Then they plummet as the plant grows into a mature head, and then they spike again when the plant makes new seed. So what does this actually mean for us at the grocery store? Well, it means that those little 3-day-old broccoli sprouts are an incredibly concentrated source of that precursor. They can have many, many times more of it than the mature broccoli we typically buy. And to make things even crazier, the amount of this stuff in mature broccoli is wildly inconsistent. I mean, research shows it can vary by more than 200 times from one head of broccoli to the next. So, one day you might get a good dose, the next, almost nothing. This makes sprouts a much more reliable and way more potent source. All right, so as we start to wrap this up, it's really important to look at both the incredible promise of this research and, of course, the necessary precautions. The big idea here is truly revolutionary when you think about it. We're seeing how a simple compound from a vegetable doesn't just give us passive nutrients. It's actively communicating with our cells, literally switching on our own powerful built-in defense systems. Now for a little balance. It's important to note that while sulforaphane is considered very, very safe, some mild side effects have been reported, and this is mostly with really concentrated supplements. These can include things like increased gas or constipation. Like with anything, it's about finding the right balance for your own body. And that kind of leaves us with a final big thought. The story of sulforaphane really shows that our everyday foods contain these complex, incredible chemical systems just waiting to be unlocked. It really makes you wonder, could the future of our health be less about finding some new miracle drug and more about understanding the secrets that are already hiding in our CRISPR drawer?